Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Center. We're doing a members video here. We're going to check out AMD on multiple time frames. We have a long setup here, and the market is showing some strength in price action. So I do believe the correction is near over. We'll talk about it in the market analysis. I do believe there's just a tad bit lower to go, a couple points for the measured move that we talked about yesterday. And then I believe price action starts to go higher into FOMC around September 18th and possibly just a couple days after. So we need to look into some long plays. And I have AMD. We did Lulu yesterday. There's plenty of them. I'm putting these trade alerts out as I get them. Clearly, the semiconductors are going to show some strength with this, but I think AMD makes one more high up here. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We have on the monthly time frame a very bullish looking chart here. We can move our trend lines very similar to this. As price goes up, we'll keep it on this low here because I do think we make a new high here. And what I think is happening is we're already starting an ending diagonal. So we're looking for one more push up here, and then one more push for 3 drives to a high. And then we'll be looking for this trend line to break and to go into the pullback for a recession, which ultimately should, in my opinion, lead us down to, at minimum, this low here on AMD. But a huge low buying opportunity would be this 40 area here, buying hand over fist. So these companies aren't going anywhere. So if the lower they get, I would start buying into it around 50 or so, around this low, and at least scaling in the long run, because I do believe these companies are strong, and they'll show after recession, they'll show leadership in the strength. Options tender here. So at this point, I do think with a monthly time frame, we'll probably get a lower high here, a negative divergence on the monthly time frame if we make a new high here, and again on the RSI. So that's what we'll be looking for. We're basically oversold in the slow stow, and we'll be looking for this to start curling up and reaching the higher limits here as we make new highs as well. All right, let's go to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, not a whole lot to look here. I don't have much to... I didn't diagram a whole lot on this one. I spent most of the time on the daily and the 65. So let's clear some of this text here. I used to put the Fibonacci's on this board. Now I'd use a whole different board for that. But we could take this trend line, move it here, and so we're getting the lows here, and specifically this one. And so that kind of shows us, price has a fake break here and is holding on top of this trend line here. So I do think this is a good long at this point. I'm not sure that it's going to get any deeper pullback. If it does, it'll just be an objective buy at this point. But we can start to draw in on the weekly time frames some good support here. So look at that previous resistance, and you had the fake break above it, and resistance, support. So this is a good area here, and we can dig in just a little bit more. We're getting a nice reversal, probable candle, and then we should see going on into the next couple weeks, probably some large moves. We'll see if because I do expect this to be the last high that SPY makes with a lower high in QQQ. So this should probably get a nice 5-wave move off to end this here. Very similar to this, maybe even a little bit more aggressive with a blow off top in some of these moves. Okay, so on the weekly time frame, no, not really. Kind of a double bottom here, not really a divergence here on the lows, but definitely oversold. And that's when we had our bounce back up. So we're still, in a position where price has to work its way above these moving averages on the weekly time frame, but really they're just moving sideways, so it shouldn't be too difficult to get above those. Maybe just a little pause in this area, but this just really shows that price action is getting tight and we should have a big move coming up. So we'll put this downtrend here. We haven't had any breakouts with this yet. Tesla is breaking out to the upside, so that's a leading indicator there. Let's go down to the daily. So we flip-flop on Tesla. We had a short, and we got out of that when it was clearly a three-wave move, and price action was getting near the B wave, and got out of that and flipped back over with the breakout. So what's the point of me saying that? Is you guys at any time, don't think I'm just blowing air out my butt. It's I'm giving you what I see, and we were in a bearish position on Tesla, and it didn't work out, and so we had to flip flop quickly to get on the right side of that, and that's why I do these videos often. It's especially on the market itself, but I posted that earlier on YouTube and Patreon, so you guys could be informed of me changing my positions. So here we have a good resistance point here. That will be a good area to get above. That will also be this 200-day moving average spot to get above. We back tested it and came below, but really we have this beautiful trend line here that we're holding. And so I do think getting above here would be a very conservative move, and you should see the breakout after that. But we're getting in a little bit earlier because we're seeing a higher low possible in this area. And we do have good support resistance here as well. And if we put this right about here. So can we go a little lower? Sure. But we have support here, resistance, support, and support here if price action wants to go a little bit lower. So I do think the Qs and SPY might go a little bit lower tomorrow. I don't know that AMD will do so, but if it does, we might even add on to the position, going a little bit lower here. And we'll take a look at this, the Elliott wave, so we can get a better view of why we think it might be here. We have the 618 retracement here. And so that's a definitely a 1-2 setup. Move that out just a little bit more. But if price is negative, which again could be like NVIDIA, I do think it could get a new low, one more low, and then probably a gap and go, and maybe a gap down. I guess you could call it a gap and crap, but if we gap down into tomorrow, I think that will recover very quickly. And so at minimum, I think we could see, at maximum, I think we could see 130 here in AMD. It doesn't have to do that. It could come and just eke out another low here and zip back up. So we're already in this. We have a swing out to September 27th on this, and I think that's plenty of time to get to our targets. I know that's not a whole lot of time to get these moves here, but I mean, this thing could rip at this point, because this would be a 1, 2, and then aggressive wave 3 to test the tops, and maybe this ends up being a double top or so, and we eke out a new high. But this looks clear to me that it's a 3-wave corrective move. So, we'll be way out of this before we get to the highs here. We just want the meat of the trade. And so we might possibly even go to this very conservative spot of 185 and leave some runners after that, because this looks like a good spot for a pause and price action after a breakout. we'll have to see, because by then we'll just be breaking out of the flag, the bull flag. So, we'll have to make a decision there, because price action will probably break out here and maybe back test depending on, how this goes. Pause here for a second, but getting above the 185 should bring us up to the highs. So I don't think it'll stop here. It doesn't make sense if this is a wave 3. It should be pretty massive, relentless, and then get some sort of wave 4 here, which should be more time-wise because of this sharp move to the downside. Should be more of a sideways move, maybe form a triangle or so, and then grab a new high there. Okay, so still possible a new low, and the reason why I say that is just the structure going to the 65-minute. I'm not going to show you any lower on AMD, no need to. So we do have a good low here, and no, I don't think price is going to get there now because of this A, B, C. It looks like a C, but there's a structure here, a lower high here, and this is looks like a wave 3. So I do believe we're back testing this previous flag, and now I think we'll get a wave 5. That wave 5 can go down to either the 50% here, or if it wants to extend price action all the way down to the 447. So we just have to be careful on our longs. Give yourself plenty of time on any swings at this point, but I do think at minimum we get down to the 50%, and that would give us a nice A, B, C into the 887. I still think the 887 is where it's at. I think that's where price action tests for a new low. And even if we make a new high here, it doesn't really matter, because we'll be playing to the upside, and we'll watch to see where the where SPY is. All right, thanks for joining us here at Options Center. We'll see you in the next video.